Welcome back, San Andreas. We are here with Damien and Zachary for the fall election coverage. Two hopeful state representative candidates. How are you doing this evening, guys?
I'm really excited. I'm really pumped up. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Thank you very much. And Damien, how about you?
Can't wait for election day.
Fantastic. I'm about to say it's right around the corner. It'll be here a lot sooner than people think. We at Useless News feel it's important that people get a chance to, see you guys, hear you guys, and learn a bit more about your policies. So to start off with, both sort of very different jobs from what I hear.
Yeah, I most of my background is actually a little bit in the SaaS days back in the day, and then now I run a soil and gardening based business.
Fantastic. And yourself, Damien?
Yeah, I'll admit I'm a reformed convict, ex-con.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
and
that.
now I'm in the jewelry business, the fashion business, I like to call it.
Selling it rather than taking it, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. See, reformed criminals. That's exactly what we like to hear.
There's dozens of us.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's, it's not beyond the realm of possibilities. So what's prompted you both to run for state rep? If we start with Damien.
Well, Bill, it's probably the same reason why you originally ran the first time. I saw how the
Pissed
government
off
was
with
running. Not with the Sudoku, but I saw how the government was running, and I didn't quite like it. I didn't quite like how two people, how you can work for the taxpayer, and you can do such a poor job where you end up resigning and keeping the cash that you did. I think that's wrong, and I think what they need is a better class of politicians who's actually going to look out for their interests and actually work for the people.
Care to give an example on that point?
Yeah, the two state reps who left immediately into their terms because their friend got arrested.
Can't get fairer than that. And yourself, Zachary, what sort of prompted you to get into public life and run for office?
I've always been around this city. I've really enjoyed a few things, but one of the things that has always kind of been a grinding my gears, for lack of a better term, tends to be how slow things move and how little transparency there can be. So I really decided, I'd roll up my sleeves, and just like how I started a business that fit a particular niche, I think we can do the same thing with government.
Again, can't really get much better than that. So talk me through because obviously you guys are running on a joint ticket. For those who are around for the spring election, from what I understand, very similar setup to what myself and James Hill did on the Hill and Smith campaign. Sort of both independent candidates, not necessarily affiliated with the party, but sort of running together to show that working relationship before you even get through the front door. Sort of, am I on the right lines there?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Damien, we've been acquainted for quite a while, and when we started getting into more the legal side of things and starting up businesses, we realized you really have to make contacts in a hurry. So we've been kind of working closely together ever since.
Would you agree, Damien?
I agree. Like I said, he's a good guy. Zach, I've known him. Like I said, we've known him for quite a while, and then I'm just going to repeat what he says. You need to make contacts. You need to make friends. You need to know people.
Okay. I'm going to go for a slightly different question now, and I'll start with Damien. Damien, sell Zachary as a state rep.
Zachary is one of the most calmest people I've ever met. He's rational. He's always excited. He has ideas that come to him. It's very easy that the ideas that come to him, and I think he's a very pleasant person to work with. And I think that's going to be the major thing. But there's only two of us. There's going to be 5 state reps. If me and him do win, we need to work with everyone else, and I think they'll find that Zach is a very easy person to work with.
Fantastic. So you guys are already sort of ready and raring to go and work with whoever else gets elected. Obviously, from your end, hopefully the pair of you. From the moment we're filming this, there's currently 6 state rep candidates. Maybe more by the time nominations closed. But as it stands, someone's unfortunately going to be out of luck. Zachary, do the same again for Damien. Why should people vote for him?
Yeah, so Damien's always been an execution guy. One of the things he's always been great at is making a choice and then sticking to it and seeing it through the end. And I feel like that would be a great fit for government. It's already been a fantastic fit for him as far as turning his life around once he'd made a choice on that. I mean, shoot, now he's running a jewelry store. How many people in the city can say they've even worked for one, let alone ran one?
I think it would be in the minority. I think a lot of people in the state might have experience of stocking or changing stock for evangelicos, but not necessarily for working in one.
Isn't that the truth?
My only competitor
exactly.
now.
No, exactly. So, talk us through sort of what sort of you want to do in your first. You get elected tomorrow. What are your plans? If we can start with Zachary.
Yeah, me and Damien have been discussing this a lot over the last few days, and honestly, have been kicking around this idea for a while. One of the first things we really want to step in on is better transparency, and one of the things we're aiming to stay away from is the same pitfalls some of our previous representatives have fallen into, where they try to make that change without getting everyone on board. One of the ideas we really want to create more availability in programs that allow people to see what government officials do in this city without forcing them to come to the board and play ball.
Okay. Damien, anything to add on that, or any sort of expansions you'd like to make?
Exactly, yeah. So one of the things that I've noticed is that, we always have people come and say, oh, we want greater transparency, but they don't give a plan on how they're going to get that. And they try to create laws that don't end up getting, shot down or kicked down by the Congress. They don't work. What you need to do is you need to get everyone on side. Getting people talking, getting people working together is generally how things get done. If you make an enemy in your first pitch, they're going to be resistant and less likely to work with you, and you just end up looking stupid throughout the thing. What I will do is I'll go to these departments such as LEO. I know DOCO is another one that you mentioned, and I'll be asking them, hey, look, I can't force a policy change, but would you be willing to? What red lines are there? Would you be willing to do this, etc.? I think when it comes to LEO, more community outreach is a good idea, and I've seen them taking steps already with the K9s. I know that's the Rangers. And then I saw something today. There's an event that they're going to go in. They're inviting a cleanup of the La Mesa building. Yeah. And I think stuff like that could work. I also saw something today. They were saying, hey, I'm going to be doing license checks for the next 15 minutes if you want to come down and do it. I think just stuff like that, getting the public on your side, speaking to them, treating them as if they are, because in the end they are your employees. They're going to be, they might be my employees if we win. They're the employers. They're going to be my employers. They're going to be the employers of the the police. They're going to be the employers of everyone in the state, because in the end we have to talk to them. So talking to them, treating them as if they're real people, and not just people, like an obstacle or someone who isn't worth talking to. I've had bad experiences with LEO, but I've also had great experiences with them, and I think it's more appealing to everyone's better nature and trying to get everybody to work together rather than making enemies right off the bat.
And if I could, I do want to draw attention to one thing you said there. We really don't want to treat LEO or any of these government bodies like they are a problem. We want to come to the table and get some solutions with them, because we all can agree that things could improve, but they are a lot better than they used to be.
Again, I think so. Very very fair points, and very sort of policies that I believe quite a lot of people in the state could get behind. Transparency is always, a good sort of mantra to work with.
It's an easy buzzword, but you got to actually put the work in to do it.
Well, exactly as you say, it's about having ideas and plans of how you're actually going to execute that. As you said before, I think a lot of people fall into the trap of saying they want to do it, then once they actually get in the room and they're a state rep or a governor, they then sort of fall over at the first hurdle and get stuck in paperwork and emails in the back room. Well, emails and all that and backroom meetings are great, but people don't see that, people don't hear that, so then they just assume you don't do anything, and you're not, by extension, doing anything for them. So, it's good to hear that you're trying to think of ways for the different government departments to, come out to the community and work with the community on a more regular basis.
Well, Bill, you're the most important. You're some of the most important people for that. Just having we want to encourage. We want to encourage ride-alongs. We want to encourage, more cooperation with the press, with all these government agencies. I've noticed that there's a lot more press releases being released, which is great. But I feel like that's part of it. The third estate should definitely be talking to them. Obviously, you don't need to be a propaganda piece. That's not what I'm asking. But to at least but cooperation with the third estate would be great. Yeah, speaking to you guys, letting people know that being more open and explaining their side can go a long way. Rather than
Yeah,
trying
of
to pick,
course.
because otherwise people just fill in the gaps, and people fill in the gaps with whatever, like, whatever mood they woke up in that day or whatever they had for breakfast, and next thing you know, like, they fill in the gaps, and it's probably not really representative of what actually happened.
Okay, that's pretty cool. It's again, it makes a lot of sense, and I can see people get behind that. In terms of so we recently, we obviously opened this out. Contacted all the candidates via email, offering the chance to come and have an interview like this, such as you guys have. We've already had Jessica come through, who's another candidate running to be state rep. We've asked her the same question, so we'll ask it to you. As of this recording, the current candidates for governor are Jeremy, brother Jeremy, and Wyatt Mackenzie as a pair, and you've also got the two Shelby brothers running as another pair. Is there anyone in particular out of those two that you prefer to see win as governor?
I had a phone call today with brother Jeremy, and he was very not congratulatory, but he wished me luck, and I wished him luck. I don't really know the Shelby brothers, I'm afraid. I've not really met them or know what they're about, but I know brother Jeremy's a good man. He's obviously a God-fearing man. He posts about the saints every now and days, and he's also been there for people when he's obviously a very caring man. He's been there. He works at the funeral home, and he's obviously been there at people in the worst moments, and has helped them guide them on that passage. So I think brother Jeremy would be a good person to guide the state.
Fantastic. Anything to add to that, Zachary?
I actually have not had the fortune to meet most of those candidates in length. I have kind of ran into them in passing. I do got to say, anytime siblings or family members run together, I'm always very interested in it. So I'll be looking forward to speaking to all of those candidates quite a bit more as time passes.
Fantastic. I mean, again, just from what you guys were saying, especially on your point, Damien, it's nice to hear that brother Jeremy's engaging with state rep candidates. Ultimately, if he gets what he wants and he is governor, I think that's probably quite an important part of the job. The legislature, in terms of the state reps, will propose bills and amend bills and so on, and then ultimately the governor will sign off on them. I think it's important that he's done that. As sort of Zachary was leading on to, it'd be nice to see whether or not the Shelby brothers do the same, to try and build a working relationship for what they hope will be their new jobs. Another question for the pair of you, slightly bit different. It's one that we asked Wyatt Mackenzie and brother Jeremy at their press conference when they announced they were running for governor. What animal would you be and why? If we start with Damien.
I think I'd go for the beaver. Beavers are, they're very communal. They're very creative. They can, they construct massive. They construct massive dams, and these are big projects. And that's what I think of myself as a man who gets into a big project and helps create with a lot of other people.
Fantastic. And what about you, Zachary?
My answer may end up being a little bit controversial, but I do kind of resonate with that of the pig. It's a naturally resilient species. Anywhere they've ever been left, they've made it their own. They've adapted. And that's very much so what Los Santos has been for me. Every time I find myself into a situation, no matter what turn it is, I've found ways to keep on keeping on and make my way through it.
Fantastic. I think that basically wraps up our interview for you guys, but we'll open the floor to the pair of you. Have you got anything else that you'd like to sort of say to the people whilst they're watching? If we start with Zachary.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want to get too far into it just because we haven't completely laid all of our groundwork and foundation on it. One of the things our campaign will focus on and our decisions, if we do end up getting elected, will focus on is engagement for the people. We want to see press brought into more areas for more engagement with the press, or translation from that area to the people through press. And we also want to see a lot more activity around basic jobs such as mining and other things.
Fantastic. And anything from you, Damien?
3 things. Basic, we want to make it easier for people to reform. We want to put a cap on the fines when it comes to marijuana possession, and we want to help, like I said, basic jobs, allow them to create unions that are registered with the state, and when that way we can help them and find ways to protect the people working these basic jobs.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Damien and Zachary, and best luck with the campaign.
Thank
Thank you for having us.